Cheers, everybody. We are back for another edition of Bourbon on a Budget. Welcome back, Brendan.
Hello.
And goodbye to Ben. Ben has passed on.
Again.
Not like passed away, but we have a fill-in for him. Elliott with us again. Second time on the show.
The
first returning guest.
Yeah.
Let's
go.
Elliott, thanks for hanging out tonight. How you doing, bud?
I was told Ben was actually dead, and this was a permanent spot. I feel like I've been hornswoggled or something.
Dude.
That's definitely the title of the show is
Hornswoggled.
We have an exciting show for you guys today. We appreciate you guys for hanging out, chilling with us for the evening. We're going to get into a couple of things. Before we get into those, if you're watching this on YouTube or wherever, if you could subscribe, go check us out on iTunes, SoundCloud, Twitter, Facebook, all of the social media apps. It's Bourbon on a Budget. We would appreciate interacting with you there. We are getting into a couple of like random things this week. Not really, maybe some bourbon conversations, but we're going to talk a little bit of wedding season. Brendan attended a wedding that was kind of different over the last week. We're going to talk about that, wedding booze, and then tis the season. Tis the season for a lot of things. One of those, sports coming back.
Football.
A lot of things, but most importantly, allocated bourbon season is back.
Let the hunts begin.
It's the worst time of the year, to be honest, because it's a realization of what you're not going to get.
Oh yeah,
it's like you're so excited, and it's Christmas with no presents. I mean,
the only one celebrating Christmas is going to be the truck driver who's taking the pappy off the back of it.
Exactly.
Yep.
And that handful of guys who are always friends with the guy who owns a liquor store who gets them everything.
Yeah, Kevin at Costco, I'm watching you.
I texted Elliott a picture of an allocated bourbon. We'll talk about it here in a little bit. Earlier this week, and I was like, "This one, man, this is the one." And there's no chance. I mean, like maybe I'll get one like secondary or something, but like there's no chance. But my hopes are high right now. So fall allocated bourbon time. Brendan, do you have some info on some allocated bourbon? Some lists?
I do. Yeah,
some
lists.
Things that we want to talk about.
Are there any BTAC on the list?
Oh, maybe just a few. First, I have to say, this is it's entirely my fault because this is my idea and I want it to be timely. But last week, you guys had Joe on in my place. Thanks, Joe. He was great. I didn't realize he looked more Italian than I did, which is actually really impressive. Feet.
No, his face did.
His face did. Well, whoa.
You said feet.
He said which is a feat.
Which is a feat.
Yeah.
FEAT.
Right.
Oh man, am I drunk already? Huh? We'll see. Anyways, Joe was saying how nice it was that we don't go heavily into like allocated bourbons when we talk about it on the show, and this is what like half the show is going to be. So
4 days later, here we go.
Yeah, let's talk about Joe's feet some more. All right, so first one I want to get into that comes out in September. Traditionally, the Buffalo Trace Antique Collection. Maybe you guys have heard of it. This is going to be George T Stag, William LaRue Weller, Thomas H. Handy Sazerac, the 100 proof Eagle Rare 17-year-old, and the 90 proof Sazerac 18-year-old. Those are usually going to be about like $100 to $120 retail price, but no, you're not getting it.
Good
retail.
luck.
Also in September, Parker's Heritage Collection, which goes to a good cause. It's Heaven Hill does it, and it's named after Parker, who was a young man who passed away pretty young. So it goes to a good cause. It's when they do a bunch of different types of cool finishing with it. So if you are buying that, like know that like some of that does go to a good place for charity. Four Roses.
And one of my favorite looking bottles. We've talked about this offline before, but Parker's Heritage, one of my
really
best.
Classy looking. Classy. And I had a chance to try it this past week for like $25 a pour. I passed on it, but I've never tried any Parker's Heritage.
I had the heavy char not too long ago. I got a bottle of it, and Ben and I. Oh, you know when we tried it? We tried it when the night the Lightning won the Stanley Cup. I said like if they win this, we'll have this Parker's Heavy Char 10-year, and it was fantastic. It was really really good. Absolutely advised. I poured it with like The Lightning won that game by 1, I think, maybe 2. I don't know. But either way, I poured it like 5 minutes ago, and Ben's like, "You're jinxing it." So anyway, not that he cares about sports at all.
Not
But,
at all. Unless
we got
it's the
to-
Olympics.
Yeah.
If you can, they have it at Market Square. I don't know how much they're charging, but if you can find the Promise of Hope, that's, I think, what a lot of people consider the standard bearer of the line.
And they have all sorts of cool, like, I mean, it'll range each year. It'll be a little different. So they'll do like a straight bourbon some years, a rye, a wheat, malt whiskeys, and like the casks will be from cognac to like. There's one, I don't even. It's an orange something. I remember.
Caraco.
That's it, Caraco.
Yeah.
So it's like it. I mean, I've never heard of a bourbon finished in orange Caraco. I've never heard of an orange Caraco until I heard about the Parker's Heritage. So,
Brendan, I have that bottle and I like it, and I know you're gonna call me out because it's finished in something.
yeah.
It doesn't have much of a taste of orange, so
I do like that of all the things that could be finished that you would like, it's orange Caraco and not sherry or anything else.
As they say in Goodfellas, an aristocrat.
All right. Also in September, Old Forester birthday bourbon. I would love to get my hands on that. I've tried it. It's delicious. That's going to be about $130 MSRP. But again, everything we're mentioning here is going to be hard to find. Also September, Wild Turkey's Master's Keep, which, fellas, that's what I'm going to pour right now, is the lone bottle of Master's Keep that I have. Wild Turkey Bottled and Bond 17-year. That's what I'm getting into right now. What are you guys going to pour for this allocated episode?
So I will tell you guys, the one that I texted Elliott is this, the Michter's Toasted Barrel Finish.
Last came favorites.
Out. Yeah, the bourbon. I don't have a ton left. I try to, I don't know what you guys' take on this is. I think I've talked about this before, but we can talk about it. I try to not really drink my allocated stuff by myself too often. I like to share that with people. I like to give that to people when they come over. I'm not saying I never will, but I just, I go for some everyday drinkers most of the time and then try and share this with people that come over. But I did pour this week or tonight. This was the 2018. If you can see that if you're watching. So the 2021 is coming out soon in September. It'll start releasing. MSRP is $100, I believe.
Good luck.
But secondary, I don't know, $350. Like it can get up there. So I've won this in a raffle. I've talked about that before. Only played in the raffle once. Like I didn't play in it multiple times. So I truly did win this for like $35, $38, something like that. So I'm nursing it because, probably won't find another one for several years. So that's what I poured tonight. Elliott?
I'm going to be the jerk.
Oh, gosh.
Pull out an allocated bottle that's so rare they don't even allocate them anymore, I don't think.
Oh, gosh.
That's a Jefferson Presidential 21 year.
Wow.
Oh, my. Talk to us about that.
Yeah.
These, man, like everything else in the bourbon world, these used to, at Market Square for those Tallahassee people, they used to get them pretty regularly. Not like they would put a shelf full of them, but you could pick them up there. That's where I've always had them. That's how long, I've savored this one for a long time because of that. But, yeah, Jefferson's used to do all these great, really well-aged bottles. If you find, I had at one point in my life, they had, they were marked with red ink. Oh, sorry. With red ink here. And that was the rumor to be Stitzel-Weller juice. Although I don't know if that's true or not, but that's what people said. But this is not a red ink bottle. But yeah, these used to come out a lot back in the day, but I haven't seen an aged Jefferson release in God knows how long.
I never even heard of that until
same.
Now. 21 years
Yeah, the
old.
Jefferson
That's
absurd.
Yeah, it's the Jefferson Presidential. That was the line. So,
as we discussed before, named after Thomas Jefferson, he didn't drink bourbon at all. He thought it was swill. He drank wine. Spent his life fortune on wine.
Yep.
We've talked about the I don't remember what the book was. I think it was The Bourbon Empire that I read, which is really, really good. If you've not read that, I listened to the audiobook actually on the way.
Said you read it. That doesn't count.
It's the same thing.
I actually read it, and I'm not a book reader, but I did actually read Bourbon Empire.
I think I read the first 2 chapters, and then I was going up to Tallahassee for signing day, and I was like, oh, I could just listen to it. By the time I get home, I'll be done. It's like it was fantastic. So anyway, but they talk a lot about that, like how all these different bourbons are named after the old prairie and, the frontier and dead presidents. And
And how most of it was marketing.
Yeah. Yeah. None of it's real at all. And,
Mhm.
But I mean, enjoy the stories because it's fun.
That's
like,
part
who
of what
cares?
part of what we paid for.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. So, like, real buffaloes didn't make Eagle Rare, right? Like, so I mean, they're liars too, I guess.
Speaking of price, cheers, gentlemen, to Allocation and to drinking expensive stuff tonight. Happy to have this company, even remotely.
Brendan, was there anything else special on the list that wasn't like a normal release? Like I know E.H. Taylor's got a new.
This is pretty generic of what I have.
It's a pretty generic list. Okay.
Yeah, so just kind of like the normal ones. So like Old Fitzgerald Bottle and Bond. One I know you're looking for, Elliott, Larceny Barrel Proof comes out January, May, September. So yeah, nothing. And then Pappy Van Winkle, maybe you guys have heard of it. Will come out in November.
I got an email today. Sorry to interrupt. That the store has Van Winkle Rye and Lot B. And they were only $1,300 and $1,500 each. So if anybody needs the hookup, just let me know.
Call them and ask for that combined. I would pay for that. No, man, that's still a lot of money, even if you added it.
Lot B is the most overpriced bourbon in the world at secondary.
At secondary, yes, it's a damn good bourbon for what it normally would be. Like 65. It's great.
Lot B is the 12-year. Is that right?
Yeah.
So, Elliott, I told these guys I went to a bar. Oh, is this it? Is this it? Yeah.
There it is.
Not too long ago. I had this picture saved. I went to a bar several weeks ago, and they had this flight, and I want to say it was $42. So Buffalo Rye, a 10-year, a 12-year, and then a Baker's 7. Fantastic. $42. Like, let's go. It's a place in Lakeland called Moho Federal. It's a barbecue joint with an excellent bourbon selection, as you can see. And so, yes, tried all four. The Lot B was incredible. Like, it was so good, so smooth. I even gave Kara a sip, and she was just like, yes, this is incredible. And I said, all right, that's enough for you. So, but yeah, for $40 or $42, whatever it was,
right,
great price, to be
able
to try that.
It seems like my wife had a sip of one of my bourbons and she loved it. And of course, it was an old Fitzgerald 16-year, which is, I bought a glass of it at Sage, and they're $800, $900 secondary, whatever. It's like, why are the wives always only really like the ones that are
expensive taste?
Yeah,
my wife,
maybe.
I poured a WL Weller. This is like a year ago at this point, and my wife won't drink it ever because she got really drunk off whiskey sours on New Year's once, so she refuses to drink. But I still make her smell the whiskeys for me every time. And I wasn't even making her smell this one; it was across like the table, and she got a whiff of it. She's like, "Oh my god, that just smells like brown sugar!" Like, she loved it, and I asked her if she wanted to taste anything. God, she did not.
Lucky man.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, my wife's like, "Hey, what's that you got over there?" And I'm just like, "Oh, it's Knob Creek maple." Like,
give her the Bakers. Give her the Bakers.
There's stories of guys who to this day rue that they were like, "Oh, I wish my wife would just enjoy bourbon with me," and then they really start to enjoy bourbon, and their collection starts to go.
Yeah, it goes down twice as fast. I used to feel that way about craft beer, because like when I was really, really into craft beer, which I still like it a ton, it's just heavy and a lot of calories. We would go to breweries and she would just sit there and like watch me drink. Like, she just wouldn't. Now she loves craft beer, and I've moved on to bourbon, and I'm just like, all right, well, you stay there on craft beer. Like, you stay there. I'll go with the bourbon.
We'll keep our lanes.
Yeah. Okay. So we talked about some of the allocated stuff. Is there anything you're looking for? Anything that you guys really? Obviously, any of these things that we found on a shelf at retail, like, we'd buy, right? Like, no questions. But like, anything that you'd really, really like to have?
So I had about a 3 to 4 month stretch where I was aggressively looking for birthday bourbon. I think the bottle, that little stubby bottle, is pretty cool looking and different. And the juice in it, I know I've had it before. Like, I know it's pretty excellent. And one of my friends got a hold of like 4 bottles of it one year. And so like, I'm just like, I know it's out there, and I've gone all over South Georgia, Tallahassee, trying to find it. No luck. So I'll look this year. Maybe the ABC Vault will be kind to me. That's high on my wish list, but I can't honestly say right now, TJ, that I'm like aggressively pursuing any of these just because I don't want to get my heart broken.
The only one that I'd say that I really want, like, I texted a couple of people that I know here in Tampa and said, like, I really want more of those mixtures bourbons if you can get them. Ben's brother-in-law was out in Colorado a few weeks ago and picked me up a Michter's barrel strength toasted finish rye. And so at like $65, I gave him a couple more for the fact that he brought it back. But yeah, got that at a great price. So if I don't get a Michter's bourbon, like I'm okay. I actually like the rye a little bit better, so it's fine. But that's one that I really want. Brendan, I really want the I would want this year's birthday bourbons just so I could trade it for the birthday bourbons that are my kids' years, 2018 and 2020.
Yeah.
So, you know, if I was to get a 2021, if I get 2, I'll give you one. Well, no, I wouldn't. I just trade for both years. If I get 3, I'll give you. Well, no, Ben would.
No,
if you get
I don't
4,
like your direction.
If you get 4, maybe give him one.
4, you get one. Because Ben and I have talked about like we both had a sunburn the same year, so like we both want that 2020 release. So anyway, yeah, that's one I would like, but.
Well, I don't know if you can see it. That's what I'm crushing on.
Oh, the castrate Bowman.
Because you like the Bowman, just like the normal line of their stuff. Elliott's mentioned it multiple times.
Yeah, I do like Bowman, and that's 140 proof. It's supposed to be pretty awesome. And
140.
Yeah, it was distillery only. Yeah, and they've made their way around to a couple secondary stores who are putting them on secondary, but.
If I have someone who's isn't that Virginia, correct?
Yeah, Virginia.
All right, I have some family up there.
Our guy Tony's up there. Tony, keep a lookout for that.
Tony, keep a look for Elliott. Real quick, the Parker's Heritage I just pulled up because I was looking at other stuff. Like I was looking for some specific releases for September coming up here. The Parker's Heritage that we talked about is going to be a heavy char 11-year-old barrel that is it's barrel strength, so 61%. Oh. And it is, it's wheated. Sorry, it's wheated as well. So it's got a lot going out there. Wheat, heavily charred, barrel strength, 11 years.
If you, this is years ago, so I'm not sure how things have changed because everything changes so fast. But those used to be fairly regularly available in the gift shop. If you were doing the Heaven Hill tour, you used to be able to find them in the gift shop pretty regularly. I don't know if that's still the case anymore. It's been a few years since I've been through the gift shop. But yeah, I mean, Willett and Heaven Hill are right next to each other if you're ever going through the distilleries. So Heaven Hill is always a good one to check the gift shop.
Noted. Ben and I talked about going up there. I lost my train of thought.
That was a great transition. No,
yeah,
really,
Ben and I talked about taking a trip up there this year, but I think I mentioned this on the show last week. I can't remember. We just bought a house and we're moving in a few weeks, and then you've got everything else kind of going on with that, and we're redoing the kitchen. So I don't know. I think our Louisville trip is going to get moved, but that may work out because we play up there next year.
FSU.
Yeah. So next year may be a better time to do that anyway. Just hope it's in like October, November, not September.
Yeah, one of the only reasons.
Way too hot.
You might need to edit that part out. Let me rewind. One of the things I miss about Jimbo Fisher. The leaving Thursday for the road trip. So I had a whole Friday to hit the trail in Louisville instead of getting in Friday playing Saturday, you know. So the last time we went, which was a while back, I did rent a car on the Friday that was, you know, for us working stiffs who aren't integral in the game planning. It was an off day. And I did some bourbon trails. So that was a lot of fun. And you roll it into the Louisville trip, it's couldn't be more perfect.
Yeah, wow. The last time Jimbo went up to Louisville was 2016. That was kind of the beginning of the shake the head. I know that.
Who was playing quarterback for Louisville? I cannot remember.
Some guy, Lamar Jackson.
He wasn't. He's not like NFL's like number one player last year.
Yeah, well, he was kind of like an average QB the year before, and then announced his presence with authority on the
Jimbo
Seminoles.
may have recruited him. That
may not.
It is crazy too when you think about like the year before we just absolutely dominant. Like it wasn't even no big deal. Like you got Derwin like pile driving him in the middle of the field and stuff, and then you go that year and you're like,
Derwin was not around the 2016 year. That was the year.
Go ahead.
I was going to say that real quick. That was the year I discovered mint juleps. And
I was going to say, who had a worse day, Brendan before the game or FSU on the field?
I don't think anyone at FSU threw up driving into the parking lot. No one else needed Chris Snead to scale the sidewalk to get me to throw up.
I threw up in about the second quarter, but that was a whole different thing.
Oh my gosh, you guys. Okay, so I'll say this and move on. But my buddy, you guys have seen that big spear truck. Right.
Yes.
On social media and stuff. So that's my buddies, right? He always tailgated with it. They're in the IM fields. He lived in Coral Springs and drove up to Tampa to fly out to go to the game. He's like, hey, will you come get my truck? And then you drive around for the weekend or whatever, and then come pick me up on Sunday, and then I'll drive you back to your house. You go, and we don't have to pay for parking at the airport. And I was like, sure. There was nothing worse than driving around Tampa to go pick him up from the airport after that game. Like, it was so bad.
I got something that's
hey guys, I'm the FSU idiot. You know, like on Friday it was great, right? Like playing a top 25 game. Like, this is amazing. Saturday, not so much.
That's a toughie. I can top that real quick. Our Sunday trip back, Chris and I drove to Louisville. We drove home. We got stuck in traffic somewhere near Chattanooga. When I tell you, we listened to the Miami Dolphins, New England Patriots game on the radio because Chris is a Dolphins fan. Tom Brady went through 2 drives before we moved a mile in that traffic. It was a 17-hour car ride home, magnified by pouring rain in his car for the only time it's ever done it, leaking water on the passenger seat with me still hungover for 2 nights before. So I may have topped you on the awfulness of that Louisville trip being capped off. Anyways, man. Bourbon podcast.
Yeah, I was gonna say, what are we doing here tonight?
Feels like double fries, no slaw.
Just all the way around. Yeah, it's a merge. Where's Richie at? Any advice? Can you? Yeah, I think our advice would just be like good luck, right? But like any advice on trying to tell people how to maybe try and get their hands on something allocated.
I mean, ABC Vault has been the best chance for me, and that's getting less and less. I mean, you can go to some like out of the way place. Like I got a George T Stag at $400 off of a highway in North Florida, and that was a couple of years ago. I know TJ, you've gone there since I've gone, and no luck when you've seen it. So like even that, I imagine is getting picked through about 3 years ago. That was probably harder. I don't know, Elliott, what would your advice be? Go in a time machine and get it 10 years ago to have a chance?
Yeah, this time of year, there's the big thing on social about people posting the photos like from, I don't know if it's 2000 or 2005 when the shelves were full of it and and everybody's like, oh my God, where is that? You know, everybody bites like it's last week, you know, and they're like, no, man, that was 2002. And, you know, everybody's wised up. All the liquor store owners have wised up. No, you know, like you said, like you got your Michters, maybe you can get a lucky in a raffle, but you know, that's also, you know, a game of chance where you can end up spending $40 a roll and go in on 10 of them and not win it, you know?
Right. So, yeah. She just bought one.
Right. Costco, I guess, would be like, or BJ's or Sam's Club or whatever. Yeah. Like Ben and TJ have had some luck there. Elliott had luck with the George T Stag there. I got lied to by like 3 different employees.
He's so bitter.
And they could all burn in hell as far as I'm concerned.
It was you guys, and no, you know, for those who is nobody on this podcast who knows my wife, she's one of those people that people cotton to, as they say in the South, and she ended up pulling me. It was a Weller, I think, from Costco. Was it a Weller? I thought it was a Weller. Maybe it was.
I thought it was just. Okay. No, I was trying to be nice to say I thought. I am 100% sure it was the George T Stag. I'm not bitter at all that you got one and I did not.
So yeah, she got that for me. They did not give it to me. So, but yeah, luck, and that's about it.
And luck, you know, and perseverance. You got to put time into it. Typically,
you'll feel a lot better about yourself in your life if you don't make it your quest to try to find allocated bourbon. Like, whatever, you know, just be chill, and someday in your life a bottle will fall to you some point, you know.
Yeah. We've, you know, like I said, Ben walked in and found that E.H. Taylor small batch just sitting on a shelf at Walmart. Walked into a Winn-Dixie and found a Russell's Reserve 13. Like, it just is gonna happen, like when you don't expect it, like not during season or not like after you think they're all gone and one store didn't put them out. You know, we happen to walk into Costco at the right time and get some old Rip Van Winkle. You know, like we go to Costco. We go once a month and we spend $450 there, but like we buy all the meat for the entire month and like milk and everything else. You know, like it's an expensive trip. We pop in the liquor store, you know, just see what they have. A lot of times it's just Kirkland vodka. Sometimes you get lucky with something else.
Sometimes they lie to you, and then you cancel your Costco membership.
For those of you who have it, and you know, I know it's probably not as popular. My wife has. She's one of those people who, God love her, she goes to 12 grocery stores to get everything she needs. She likes to cook.
Helpful.
So she has a Sam's membership too. Sam's has been getting some interesting bottles. Now, I'm not saying you're going to wind up with a Pappy, but they've upped what they carry, at least the one here in Tallahassee. They had the whole line of Thomas S. Moore bourbons this last week, which is, it's not a highly sought after, but I hadn't seen it anywhere else.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't remember which distillery makes it, but it's from one of the major distilleries, and it's a new line. 2 of them are finished, 1 isn't. But it was just interesting that she went in there and snapped a picture for me, and they had that line in there. So it's usually don't overlook anywhere just because you think somewhere might not have it. Like you said with Walmart. You know, we don't have Walmart liquor stores here, do we?
We have one, and they get Buffalo Trace at a good price every now and then, which like
the one on Appalachia, right?
No, on Mayhan.
Mayhan,
that's which is real close to me. And so they'll get some stuff every now and then, but it's not like I haven't seen anything great there, but they will get some decent stuff.
We didn't put this in the notes, but another suggestion is maybe to go try some of this stuff. Like, you're going to pay a little bit of a premium at a bar, but most of it is not worth the hype.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I mean, we haven't really even talked about that, but like, go try it at a bar. Mm-hmm. Go spend $20, $25 a pour, whatever, and then see if that's something you want to invest hours into looking for, right? Like, because stuff is easier to find at a bar. I'm not going to say you can always just walk in and get anything you want, but it's definitely easier to find there. And so go try it and then realize that it's not worth it, and go get you a nice Maker's wood finish series. And you'll love it, you know, like, or whatever, you know, like whatever your thing is, you know.
Or like, the other side of it though is like I went and tried a George T Stag and an Elmer T Lee back to back with each other, probably not in the right order, at a bar. And this was before Market Square Liquors like had upped the prices a little bit. Like the George T Stag was $20 for a pour, which good luck finding that now. The Elmer T Lee, I was like, this is fine. I don't need to find it. But the George T Stag, I was like, I absolutely need that in my life. If I can find it even 4 times MSRP, I probably would be okay with it. And that's basically what I did. And
I had the Michter's Toasted Barrel finish at a bar in Savannah and just loved it. Went back the next night to get it again and loved it again. And so I came home. This was in, I want to say we went in November. Came home and was on the hunt for it. Well, they'd already come out that year or 2 years ago, like they were older. And I've been on the hunt for it ever since. So yeah, I mean, like, I didn't start looking for that because it was allocated. Like, I tried it before I even knew what it was. I was like, oh, let me try that other Michter's up there, you know? And it's like, oh my gosh, can you show me that bottle? And so anyway, so I've been here ever
just
since.
To roll back though, for a guy who's not a Makers fan, which is me, I've been enjoying the wood finish series a lot.
What have you tried? Do you have like different names?
I've had the limited edition 18, 19, and 20.
Okay.
Which is not the exact same as the barrel picks, because these ones are national releases. You know, ABC's got its own wood finish barrel pick. I haven't tried that yet, although I've been tempted to because I like the 18, the 19, and the 20 limited editions. ABC in town on a Benton had the 20, but by the time I got there, the spot on the shelf was empty. But it did at least it came in. They get those every now and again. The one that's further out on Bannerman, they sometimes have it on the shelf. But I like all 3 of those. I've been really impressed with all 3. And like I said, I'm not a big Makers guy.
The store picks here, like on this podcast, I'll let TJ talk about it because he gets where in Tampa, where they have some really great whiskey groups putting together, and liquor stores, they have some fantastic store picks that we've really, really enjoyed. I've been trying to stall for you, TJ, while you fix your microphone. I'm still going to keep talking, going to keep rambling. Maybe you'll fix it by now.
Brendan, you like the limited editions, right?
Very much so. The FAE, this past year's one, I liked a lot. The 18 was my favorite, the first one they did. But they're all, like, the 19 one was okay. I didn't buy it. I tried it, and it was fine. But the 21 was really good. That's the one you said tastes like Skull, right, Elliott?
No, I didn't say. The 20 says on the label tobacco. Tobacco flavor. And I swear the first one I had, the nose felt like I was sipping or smelling a cup of Copenhagen spit. And you might say to yourself, why did you continue on after that? but it's a good pour. I like it a lot. And on subsequent pourings, I haven't got quite as much the Copenhagen smell as when it was freshly.
You gotta let it open up.
Yeah, it opened up a little bit. So
really good at the price. The proof,
it is.
The uniqueness at $60-$70. Like hell yeah, man, all day.
And another sexy bottle.
And a cool looking bottle. Makers at the price that they do everything. We've talked about this before on the show. Their entry level makers is as good as any $20 to $25 bourbon you're going to find out there. The 46 is really unique. The cask strength at $40 is excellent. The 46 cask strength, which is now becoming easier to find, really good. Yeah, the 101 TJ, it's all good for the price. Makers is one of the best value bourbons out there right now. I said it.
I like the we love not the wood finish series, but the
store picks, right?
Yeah, the store picks, the ones where the stores can choose the different wood, the different stave finish. Yeah.
We're losing TJ. It's happening. We're losing them.
Sorry, I was lost when we started. Elliott, I don't know if you tried some of those. I'll bring you some of those when we come up. I've got like 3 or 4 of those different ones, the stave finish profiles, and they're pretty good, man. I've not had one that's bad at all. So
okay, yeah.
I like those a ton.
If y'all remind me and I open my tube and it's not too low, I'll pour y'all some barrel proof EHT.
Woo! That was me and Ben, Brendan. You live up in the same town.
I'm not bringing Elliott anything.
You live in town with him. So anyway, all right. Brendan, it's not only allocated bourbon season, it's unfortunately, right? It shouldn't happen in the fall, but it does a lot. It's wedding season, right?
Time in the air.
Let's first hear from you on your wedding experience.
Oh, so yeah, I went out to Seattle last week. So my buddy is a Sikh religion, so it's an Indian wedding pretty much, and very different than I guess what you call the traditional Western weddings. That's like a day event, maybe 2 days if you're talking about having the rehearsal dinner. I was out there for 6 days, and there was an event almost every single day. It was a ton of fun. There was a lot of dancing, great food almost every single day. Sometimes we had Indian food like catered from a really good place twice a day. So my tum-tum's a little upset right now, but got to do what you got to do. And the booze level was good too. They did a really good job of getting good alcohol in the mix as well. So I had a blast. I had to do a speech last minute. Like my buddy told me 3 days before. He was like, hey, you may have to do a speech. Then we walked into the actual reception hall and saw there was like 400 people there. And the way it was set up, I was like, oh, I totally have to do a speech. There's no like maybe about it. But I didn't completely embarrass myself. So
good thing you write for a living.
I mean, Elliott and I are this. I was going to say, you write for a living.
I write for a living. I talk
thousands of people.
I was talking about Joe's feet like 20 minutes ago. Do you know how bad I am at public speaking? The fact that I have a wildly popular podcast on the bench is incredible. But anyways,
wait, I need my. We've gotten double process. We got on the bench. I need my own one to plug at some point.
What would you do? I think there needs
to be
Seminoles.com. No, there needs to be like a tale. Like one day when Elliott retires, like the horror stories of his job, I think would be fun, or with all the SIDs do.
I feel like he's probably got to sign like a non-disclosure agreement.
No,
to be honest, that happens. TJ, I think TJ said something.
On that note,
maybe I'd be let off the hook for Jimbo's story since that was the bad end to the marriage.
I would say poor Zach Stipe, for our friend Zach Stipe, was the SID for Jimbo Fisher and Jeremy Pruitt. That dude, if he ever wanted to write some stories, I'm sure could write some stories.
And he misses it.
That's just some people just like punishment, I guess. Some people are masochists. But it was a good time. It was fun.
So, talking on wedding season, I'm glad you had a great time. I'm glad that you had a good time and skipped the pod for a week. But what is the wedding? Like, did you guys? Okay, so I wasn't into bourbon when my wedding happened, but like, what is the wedding like etiquette? Do you save like a good bottle for yourself and your groomsmen? Do you put good stuff out for everybody? Do you put blends out because it seems good, but it's really not that big of a deal? Like, what is the wedding etiquette for bourbon?
So I think it's gonna be different for everyone depending on what the party's going to be, the makeup is going to be, the guest list is going to be, and then the size of the group too is going to also factor into that. So for me, I went ahead and got a nice, very nice bottle of scotch for myself and my 4 groomsmen. My brother is into scotch and bourbon at a very high rate. My buddy Raj, whose wedding that I went to, he likes scotch, but like more like Macallan, sweet scotch, like isn't going to get into super crazy heavy peated stuff. My buddy Sam loves bourbon. And then my brother-in-law, Steve, doesn't really drink anything other than Bud Light. So I had to get something that was going to be kind of eclectic for that entire group. I got it was a Glenmorangie $200 bottle. Like, it wasn't anything like crazy, but it was higher end. And the way that they roasted the malt for this, like, made it very coffee, very chocolatey, very accessible for everyone, to where it's like you could tell there was good quality. Like, some of it was like there was like 35-year-old scotch in that blend, so it was something that was nice and I guess quote unquote fancy, but also like something that for someone who maybe is used to drinking whiskey on the rocks could tolerate, because it wasn't super high proof or anything like that. I was mortified to see my brother-in-law doing shots of it, like when I came back from doing the first look photos. That was fun. I didn't have a whole lot of bourbon or a whiskey left at that point. But for the actual like wedding party or in the actual reception, we had some Jameson, which like you're not going to hurt anyone with Jameson. It's fine. And we had Woodford Reserve is what we did. The Woodford was a huge hit. People went all the way down to like it was like 2 big Costco bottles of it. It wasn't a huge wedding that we had. And there was like one bottle went through and the other one had just like maybe an inch left at the bottom of the bottom of the bottle. So it was really well received. And my friend here at the wedding in Seattle this past week, he ended up doing Glenlivet, Johnny Walker Black, which you asked in the last podcast. I heard TJ, what's like the drink of like what do Indian people typically like? They love scotch. There's some really good Indian scotch out there, but that's typically what a lot of my Indian friends will drink. And then he had Woodford Reserve and Jack Daniels to mix with Coke. But the Woodford, I thought, again, was a really, really good down-the-line bourbon because everyone's going to like it. No one's going to dislike Woodford, and people also think it's like classy who are newer into bourbon too.
Yeah, I think Woodford's just a really good, solid. You can drink Woodford neat. You could throw it on the rocks. You could mix it with a Coke, like whatever. Like, it's not too expensive to mix if people aren't into it. So yeah, I'm all about that. Elliott, any fun wedding? Not necessarily if you have something from yours or fun weddings
I've had 2 weddings, so I should have double.
Tell me the bourbon stories from both of them. Which was the better bourbon at the?
I wasn't,
which was the better wedding is what we want to know. Don't answer that. No,
the current everything is better.
Good answer.
Yeah, no, the first wedding I wasn't crazy into bourbon, so it was more of a scotch deal. And the second one, it was very small, and we did it in St. Pete actually. And why am I forgetting the name of the hotel in St. Pete?
The pink one. I can't think of the name of it. Right, the big giant pink one.
Is that the Don Cesar?
Don Cesar, right?
No, it wasn't that. Hold on. If we have to...
that's where my sister-in-law got married.
Vinoy, sorry. The Vinoy.
Vinoy.
Yeah, so we had it in the Vinoy. So they have a very nice bourbon selection there. So I was very taken care of that night, but I didn't have to supply the liquor myself. But I would think, and you guys have heard me hype man for Evan Williams, white label, bottle and bond, 101, $28 for a handle. If you are looking to get a lot of people a good bourbon, I know y'all have your own personal preferences that are budget bourbons, but God, if people might look at it and not know that it's a decent bourbon, but I go to so many events and I'm like, you could have gotten this for so much less, and it's so much better. I would love to be a bourbon consultant for weddings and be able to give me your price point, and if I can make a living, is there a chance I can make a living?
Like be a bourbon connoisseur for just weddings alone?
Yeah, just awesome. Go around and tell everybody what I get. Maybe I'd have to expand it to more than just bourbon. I'd have to maybe get into scotch, but yeah. And then I definitely think you keep a bottle with that the bartender knows. Mm-hmm. Nobody gets it unless I say they get it.
Mm-hmm.
Hide it under there.
Elliott would just be telling like his whole consultant fee would be like, "Oh, just get Wild Turkey 101." Like that's pretty much what it would be. $500, please.
I mean, that's not a bad one. We rated it highly. I mean, the
Oh,
old
it's great.
Forester 100 handle would be great. I mean, I think that's a really good
Those
one.
are
That
great values. But so here's like
The good thing about those, sorry, Brandon, is that straight and mixed they would be fine.
fine.
Correct.
Yeah,
You got to be able to drink it straight. If you can, if you can drink it straight, then you're fine.
Here's this at the wedding. They would not let me have a neat pour. It
had to be ice or had to be.
It had to be ice. They wouldn't do a shot or they wouldn't do a double.
Sometimes that's a state law.
It may have been. It was definitely at this specific
venue.
hotel we were at. Yeah. So they'd pour like one little ice cube in for me because I was being really snobby about it.
Did you eat the ice cube real quick and then just drink the bourbon?
No, I sucked it up. I was nervous about the speech, so I was just drinking what I could drink to get a little liquid courage. But I
mean, how many times have you gone to one of these things and you're like, can't even find something? You're like, can I even stomach that?
Right. So that's like
I just ended up drinking a Bud Light. Like,
that's what I thought. The Glenlivet, the Johnny Walker Black, which like if you like peated, it's like a fine for like all three that Raj had were like perfect for what they should be for the wedding. He's not going to break like the bank for any of those. I think he was initially going to get just Jack Daniels. He's like, should I get like something else? I was like, do you have access to like Woodford at a Costco? And sure enough, he did. So the thing about the Woodford guys, like newbies, like beginners, see Woodford. I don't know what it is. Like some people see Wild Turkey 101. We know that it's like a really good value, but a lot of people see Wild Turkey 101 and think it's like redneck swill, right? But Woodford, they see it and they think like, ooh, like that's fancy. So it kind of gets like the people who aren't into bourbon a lot, like going a little bit. I think makes them think they're getting something really special.
When we were just up at AC Kickoff, I was at an off-site hotel. Besides, I'm not important enough to be at the AC Kickoff Hotel after 20 years with FSU. No hard feelings. But I went to get a drink and have my cigar the other night, and the only bourbon they had was mellow corn.
I was going to talk about mellow corn today too. I had that as a thing to talk about. Oh my!
And this was a fairly nice hotel. It wasn't 5-star, but I was like, oh my God. Then I said, that's the only bourbon. He says, well, yeah. He says, I have a Knob Creek Rye. I said, pour it.
Yeah, right now.
Yeah, I said, pour the Knob Creek Rye.
I don't think I've ever seen mellow corn at an actual bar too. Like that's not a common.
No. Did you guys go up to the party like the night before? The night,
they had Johnny Walker Red, and that was it.
Yeah, I got Bud
I just drank beer. Yeah, I drank. I had Sam Adams.
I was looking at the list, and I was like, "Oh, Sam Adams." Yeah. I was like, I'll take not.
But I would say, I took this into the budget bourbon world, which I don't know if that's exactly where y'all were going. But the new 2 Kirkland releases from 1792 would be good for stocking up for a party at $28 for a liter.
Yeah, get some decent.
I think this would be.
Yeah.
Brendan, I got you a bottle of the Bottled in Bond if you want it.
All right, let's go. Yeah, because I won't buy anything at Costco anymore. So I guess going.
Well, the money went to Costco. So if you're going to lay down a hard line,
don't tell me. Don't tell me that.
But the second release of the 1792 hit Costco here.
Ben got his. Yeah, Ben got his last week. I didn't pick any up. I let him. I just drink it at his house. But
man, $28 for a liter of it. You can't go wrong.
It can't be bad. Like I'm sure there's a baseline of competency for it to be 1792.
The Bottled in Bond was, and this is way off topic, and we shouldn't go there. But it was, I thought, better than the small batch. A little more flavor, packed a little bit more punch.
No, I agree with that. Yeah. Okay, Brendan, I think you have a story about a good bourbon gone bad?
Yeah, or the experience around the bourbon gone bad.
Talk to us about what's going on. Maybe Elliott and I have a similar situation. Maybe not, because we are experts. But go ahead and tell us about your folly.
You are experts. So, like the day of the wedding, it was in the evening. So I went out it was the first day we had a little bit of time. I went out with one of my friends to go to downtown Seattle and do, if you guys are familiar with Seattle, the fish market, which is kind of a big deal. Pike's Place. It's like a big touristy area to do there. It's a huge market outside. And in that downtown area too, there's a lot of bars. Went to this one spirits bar that was supposed to have like 1,000 different drinks there. So we stopped there. We went inside. They had a really good bourbon list. And I got something that was relatively local because I wasn't actually able to go to the distillery. It was the Westland Distillery, which is in the Seattle area. And I got something, it's called Garyana, which is an annual release that Westland has. And is basically from the Gariana oak tree that they have in the Pacific Northwest. So it's a very specific oak related to that area. And they also put this in Pedro Jimenez sherry casks. They do ex-rye, ex-bourbon. So they do all sorts of different blendings with these annually. They get kind of special, a little expensive, about like $150 a bottle. Good proofed. And the nose on it, guys, was incredible. It was so unique and complex and going in so many different directions. I'm trying to get into the nose there, and I'm trying to sit down and enjoy it. And I kept getting whiffs of fish. Fish, over and over again. Every time I tried to go into the nose and get it, and it wasn't a normal Glencairn, it was just a normal, rocks glass like this one. Fish. This wasn't even a seafood place that we were at. I think it was just so close to the seafood and fish market that it completely overwhelmed the bar. My buddy got just a Weller Special Reserve, which he's never had any Weller before. He had the same exact experience. So it was this really great whiskey that I got that was fairly pricey. I could have gotten the Parker's Heritage instead. I wanted to get this because it was in Seattle. When I tell you I wasn't able to get anything other than some really unique woody, spicy notes and then followed by fish, that was pretty much all I got for that one restaurant. And we left pretty quickly because it was not worthwhile to order a second drink.
So I've talked about whiskey cake a ton on this pod. Okay, before I do this, Elliott, you got any thoughts on that, on Brendan's fishy thing, before I just take it to my bad experience?
My fishy thing?
I haven't had a fishy experience, no.
I mean, that does sound like it sucks, though. Did you pay a lot for the pour?
It was like a $25 pour. Yeah, it was not a cheap pour. I mean, it was well,
I've definitely, and you guys I'm sure have had it too, had the same bourbon and had different experiences with it at different times, something that you loved. And that's why when we were talking about have a pour and then see if you want to go spend $800 on the bottle, I've had a situation where I've loved the pour the first time and then I've gone back to it later and I was like, what was wrong with me that night? I don't love this nearly as much as I thought I did. But that's a little different experience than what Brendan's talking about.
It is amazing that can happen, and like you start to wonder, it's like, did I have something weird to eat that day, like differently before that changed it? Was it like the glass it was poured in? Was it just oxidized? Like there's so many variables that can legitimately change a bourbon drinking experience. Fish in the nostrils will definitely derail it, though. I promise you, 100% of the time.
Not a fish situation, but I've talked about whiskey cake a ton on the podcast. I went there and was trying to do low carb. So I was looking for something that was primarily meat based, and then obviously bourbon's fine, right? Bourbon's low carb. So I got the duck wings.
Not really.
I mean, it's lower carb than beer, if you're going to have an alcohol. So anyway,
like corn based, it's not low carb. Sorry, go ahead. Continue.
It's lower than what I would have had. But anyway, all that said, I got the duck wings, and they were the spiciest thing I've ever eaten a whiskey cake. And when you mix spicy foods with good bourbon, like I'm talking really good, like Michter's 10 type stuff, and like not just your run of the mill, it was not good. Like it was just like I was not picking up anything from it. I ended up I stopped eating the wings, took them home, and ate them later so that I could cleanse my palate and finish the bourbon. So anyway, not like a nasty experience, but just like if you guys are dumber than me, which hopefully you're not, but if you don't know that you shouldn't mix spicy foods with high alcohol beverages, that you shouldn't do that. Like that's a bad idea.
Not complimentary, typically.
At all.
I'm the weird guy that I don't drink when I eat.
I don't either.
I'll have a drink if I'm at a nice restaurant before dinner. Definitely after dinner, but I usually don't drink my bourbon during a meal.
Same here. I'll do it with a nice steak, Elliott. Other than a nice steak, I will not do it because it does complement steak sometimes.
I don't even really do that. They were slammed. It was like right when everything reopened from COVID, and they were absolutely slammed. And so my flight took forever for the bartender to make, and then my wings came out at the same time. Like usually, I'd finish the flight, and then the wings would come out and be set. Maybe get like one more pour, an old fashioned or something after. This was not the case. The wings came out first, and then the flight came out. So I was like, and I didn't realize they were as spicy as they were. So I took a couple bites, and then the flight came out. And I was like, oh no way, man, this is terrible. So maybe a nice cheese. Like I won't do a steak, but like if I'm having like a cheese, like I've had some cheese boards and meat boards like at Whiskey Cake, and that's not bad to kind of like cleanse your palate and stuff. But yeah, I feel bad for the for you having to buy that, Brendan. Rest in peace to that $25.
I would love, like, I'm actually like, I want to get that bottle because I really enjoyed what I was able to get on it, but like, I'm not confident that I would enjoy. Like, it was so distorted. I don't know if I would actually enjoy that experience.
One of those releases was rated really high, and I started searching for it for a little while. I've seen that bottle on the shelves before at ABC, actually, but each year, like you said, is a different release, so they're going to be very different from year to year.
They're doing so many different components with it. Like, it's hard. There's going to be kind of a crapshoot.
If you guys are not part of Single Cask Nation, their Facebook group, they're the guys who did Whiskey Jubilee. They've stopped doing Whiskey Jubilee now, but they have their whole line of scotches. But they also, because bourbon became so hard to get, they haven't done nearly as many bourbon picks lately. But they do some stuff with Westlands, and they pick some really nice. Okay. Yeah, they're getting ready actually to do a lottery on 2 7-year Westland picks coming up August 24th. I shouldn't be telling everybody this because it's going to cut my chances down of getting one. But yeah, their Facebook group went from like 400, where you got almost every every pick they had, to now it's like 4,000. And they just did 2 releases of Wild Turkey, and I didn't even get a sniff of it. So, but yeah, Single Cask Nation is a great group, and they pick amazing bottles. And those are the only ones from Westland I've ever had, but they've been good. They're light whiskeys, or they're American whiskeys, but you know.
I am adding them now. I'm trying to become a friend.
Brendan joining as we speak. Okay, cool. Our favorite segment, we'll wrap up with this. Elliott, thanks for hanging out with us tonight. Pursuits and purchases, our favorite thing that we talk about. I don't know if you guys have pursued anything. I know we talked about that a little bit in the allocation section, but I don't know if you've purchased anything over the last week. Brendan, start us off. Have you done anything in pursuits and purchases?
My positive Westland experience, other sans the fish, which wasn't their fault. I am looking for, so Westland is basically redoing their single malt, which is very like typical, like Seattle. Like, it has a very strong coffee note to it in the original one, but it was kind of like an artificial coffee note, which I didn't love. They're redoing the way they do their basic like American malt. So I am on the lookout for when that gets re-released. I know ABC was putting their old stuff on clearance to try to kind of get it out in the last couple months. So if I see that, or even their peated or sherry cask in town, like, I will try Westland. I am interested in looking for that. As far as purchases, the only purchase, we talked about it before, was the double cask maple syrup finished cask strength from Tectonic, right? Tectonic. Up in upstate New York, that TJ landed for me, and I guess he's going to do a drop-off here in the next month or so. I have purchased. It will be delivered soon. Maybe if you're nice, TJ, I'll crack it when you're up here and give you a taste. Who knows?
Ooh. Mm-hmm. I almost cracked mine open tonight, but then we
you have one?
Yeah, we both got
one.
Mind.
I'm not sharing one with you.
I mean, yeah, I'll crack yours and see if we like it.
No!
Yeah, so that was my purchase of this week. I have been laying low. Haven't been buying anything. I think I'm trying to like rack my brain to make sure I didn't buy something over the last week.
I don't think you have. Ben's bought some stuff, but we'll wait for him to be on next week as long as he's alive.
Some stuff. But yeah, sure and then my pursuits are again the Michter's Toasted Barrel, and I'm looking for 4 birthday bourbons, so I can give Brendan one. Elliott, have you purchased anything last week? Are you pursuing anything special?
Good week of purchases. I got my vault invite, and I shared with you guys. I got my 16-year Russell Reserve. So
my man,
I haven't cracked it yet, but I bought one of those on the shelf at ABC years ago, and I think I told you this story the last time when we were talking about how it was hard to find things, and the guy's like, "What are you spending $250 on a Russell Reserve for?" So forward all these years later, I got one in the vault this week, so that was great. I just picked that up. And I picked up a bottle this week of the Nashville Barrel Company 5-year bourbon. They've been doing a lot of barrel picks lately, so you're starting to see those floating around on your bourbon groups probably. And a topic for another night has have barrel picks jump the shark or not, but I still kind of like getting barrel picks. And seeing this Nashville Barrel Company doing their bourbons and doing a lot of barrel picks, I was able to get one this week. It was a charity pick for somebody going through cancer. So it was nice to be able to get that.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, real quick, I forgot to share. I did get a Smoke Wagon uncut, unfiltered, clear bottle. I did get one of those. And I offered it to Elliott, and I was like, if you want it, it's I just got it because I thought it was cool looking, and I know I like the juice inside, but it is out there if anyone wants it.
He beat me to that one a little bit because he's got some advanced access to the place where that was available, and by the time I went to get it, they were sold out. But yeah, it's one of those things. It's the same juice. It's just
different.
It's they just have a clear bottle instead of the dark colored bottle. It's and then everybody went gaga to find it.
Well, you know what I always like to say? Scared money don't make money. That's why you got to pay the extra $100 a month to get that VIP, or a year. Sorry, not a month.
Right. Which is, they're a pretty decent source, and we don't bring that. I don't know if we bring that up, and I don't know if we want to pimp for other people. But Sealbox, you can get some decent bottles for MSRP.
Yeah, and they do some cool store picks too, or their own selection. They do a good job. I got a I can't remember. It was an Indiana one that was really, really well done. They have a bunch of new riff stuff too. It's a nice alternative if you can't find allocated stuff. Finding some cool craft or cool blended things, they do a great job.
I think they just did a Nashville Barrel Company pick as well. So
I think so. Mm-hmm. They could sponsor this show if they're interested. We will.
Yeah. Is anybody listening?
No.
Bring it on. Okay, I think that's it. Elliott, thank you so much for joining us again. First time. We've had somebody come on twice.
And
how does that feel? I mean, that's impressive.
It's an honor. I didn't think I'd make it through the first one the whole way. I thought I'd get dumped, kind of Hollywood Squares. I don't know where my square would go dark, and that would be it. We're dismissing the center square, unfortunately. That may have been a Saturday Night Live version of Hollywood Squares, but it was a pleasure. I always have fun with you guys, and it's always great talking bourbon. So I enjoyed it, and I'll wait till there's been a bunch of other 2-timers before I go for number 3.
Number 3, you'll be the first number 3. Promise.
And I swear to you, I never thought I'd set a record with E.H. Taylor's small batch ratings when I came in tonight.
Yeah.
I really didn't.
Future spoiler alert.
Teaser. Stay tuned. Or not stay tuned, but tune back in on Thursday. We're going to review E.H. Taylor's small batch. Brendan, throw it up there.
There it is. There's Wayne's dad right there.
Now, let's be honest. I didn't say what kind of record I set.
That's true.
Right. Bad record, good record.
We don't know if it's the lowest reviewed bourbon ever or the highest. We'll have to see. Tune in.
One of the two. So check us out. Thank you guys for hanging out. Brendan, Elliott, myself, TJ Pinger. We will see you guys on Thursday. Cheers.
Cheers all.